Hey guys, welcome in here to WagerTalk TV. This is Puck Time for Thursday, January 4th, 2024. We have sides, totals, and prop bets for you. 3 games that have the Penguins, Bruins, Avalanche Stars, and a Stanley Cup final rematch with the Florida Panthers and Vegas Golden Knights going head-to-head. I am Andrew. I have Carmine and Bryan Leonard with me here today. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into the Penguins and the Boston Bruins. Carmine, how was your night, man? Good to see you. What do you have for us in this game?
The night, it was only a couple of games, but there were some pretty action-filled games. We didn't get to see the monster in goal for the Leafs last night. 6'7" goalie. I think he's going to play on Saturday in San Jose. And as I was saying to you guys, real quickly, anyways, I had like the Leafs minus 1.5 and the team total in that one, along with the Marner shots. That top line, 23 shots on goal, 23 to 57. They ran into a hot Dostal because those final analytical numbers, 562 to 263 for the Leafs. Essentially a 6-3 game for the Leafs. That was 2-1 in OT. But with that said, Andrew, this is another good game. And I'm going to want to hear from Bryan when I'm done here, because I know that he always brings, and he does bring it, the analytic aspect of this game. But you look at the Pens, and they threw an absolute clunker in against Washington, allow 4 goals in the first period. Jari gets pulled after allowing three goals on 7 shots, and they call a timeout there. They just weren't playing in the first period. They had 1 shot on goal at the point in which they went down 3-0 in that game, but they played a very good second and third periods. And they've been on a decent run. 7-1-1 prior to that game is a decent run. And we'll look at it from an analytics point of view. But, you look at the Bruins as well, too. 2-6 stretch for this team, some regression setting with them. And then they got, which I'm going to call an easier schedule. And now they've won 4 straight. They beat the Sabres, who have become the free space on the bingo card. The Columbus Blue Jackets, Detroit, who are struggling immensely as well too, despite winning their last game against San Jose. And then they had a win against New Jersey, who have been sort of up and down. But the Bruins are getting the job done. They're you can only beat who they put in front of you. Are they a live dog tonight? Like, you can get plus 125 on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. And if you believe that they're going to bounce back off that dismal performance, or the coach is going to get something better out of them, then you take them. This is not going to make my card, just because I think going against the Bruins at TD Garden is normally not a good thing. This Bruins team win games, and they win a majority of their games at home. But it would not surprise me if the Pens go in there and surprise them tonight. So I will lean, because I'm going to give an opinion on this game, I will lean on the Penguins plus 125. And then I'm going to pass it over to Bryan, because Bryan, I know you have the numbers for this game. So fill us in on this 7-1 streak by the Penguins prior to that Washington game.
I will gladly touch on this. I just want to keep you aware of a couple things. First of all, I watched the show yesterday, and Perez was complaining there was only 2 games. So afterwards, I was on his show, and I hope you guys don't mind, but I think I cleared it all up for Perez. He's good to go from now on, because I promised him you guys would let him be on the Saturday and Sunday shows every week. So I think we got it all cleared up now, and he's happy again. Problem being, there is no Saturday and Sunday shows, but we had a lot of fun on the show yesterday. And yeah, it's tough when you've only got 2 games to go on and have a show with 3 guys.
He can have those days all he wants. It's fine by me.
Yeah, he can even have on his friends. He could have his daughter selling her towels, whatever he wants. I think it's a great deal for him. But we had a lot of fun on yesterday's show. Getting back to the Pittsburgh-Boston game, last 10 games on 5-on-5 play. The Penguins have underplayed their numbers a little bit. 50% goal for percentage, 54% basically. Expected goals. They scored and allowed 20 goals in that time period on 5-on-5. That's despite a 7-2-1 record. So I'm not really buying into Pittsburgh. They were very fortunate in those games that they did so well. They have underperformed a little bit. They're playing better. I wish I'm kicking myself. I liked Washington the other day, didn't play them, and I should have, but that's what happens when you got a full card and you can't play every game on the board. Boston last 5 games, or last 10 games, 5-on-5 play, goal percentage of 53.13, expected goal of 47.20. So they're due for a little regression here. They outscored the opposition 5-on-5, 17-15. But 7 of those 10 games for the Bruins were on the road. And this team, as Carmine mentioned, is a much better team when they play at home. Money has come in on Pittsburgh. I understand it, but it's getting to the point now. I think the value is gone here. I think Boston wins, not willing to leave the price. If it goes down another dime or so, maybe I will. Maybe that's where we'll get some value here. But as of right now, we've lost the value on Pittsburgh, and I'm not going to play it at that number. So I'll have to pass on this one myself.
All right, it's a pass there, but wait to see if the price moves on this game. You know, guys, I talked a lot on yesterday's show about this time of year. Here we are early in January, where you either look at a team and you can bet on them to kind of change their ways and improve and try and, get a team early on, like when they catch fire, like what St. Louis did years ago, or just certain teams that really turn it on. Or you ask yourself, is that really who a team really is? And the reason why I'm saying this is about the power play with the Pittsburgh Penguins. There was that streak where they had an 0-for-26 run on their power play. But if you take a look at some of their recent games here, we've got 1-for-3 against Washington, 0-for-4 against the Islanders, 1-for-3 against St. Louis, 1-for-7 against Ottawa. Sometimes you almost feel like you have too many mouths to feed on this Pittsburgh team, too many superstars, too many cooks in the kitchen, whatever expression you want to use. There's almost like too many superstars, too many shooters, too many guys on this power play. They're being too passive, and then they're shooting too much, and it just seems like the chemistry has not been there in the power play. This on paper should be one of the better power plays in the league. And where am I going with this, guys? I like the under 6 in this game. Pittsburgh, they played horribly in that first period against Washington, and they played much better after the first period. And I get it. Probably, score line was a bit different. Maybe Washington took their foot off the gas pedal because they were up by so many goals. But it's always nice to see how a team responds after they give up a ton of goals early in a game. You could easily fold, bend over, and all of a sudden you lose the game 5-1. But no, they lost that one 4-3. They battled and fought the rest of the game. And I do think we will see Swayman and Jari tonight is what I'm seeing. But either way, I'm confident in the goaltenders here. And Carmine mentioned the lighter schedule here for the Boston Bruins recently. And I know, guys, they do score more at home, but I also find them a better defensive team at home. So I just look at the power play for Pittsburgh. I look at how they've been playing recently, what's led to some of their success in some of these games that they've played well. They have played good defense. And, you talk about what a coach might want out of them, right? If there's one message in the locker room for the Pittsburgh Penguins, a good defensive start. And for this Bruins team, they should know they're getting a better team than they have been playing. And Carmine, I appreciate you adding your Sabres to the free space on the bingo card. It looks like you and I both have a free space on our bingo cards with my Canadians and the Sabres there. But, guys, I like the under 6 here, hoping for a defensive battle and a defensive mindset for both teams. So that's what I'm going with here for the first one.
And Andrew, I get it. Listen, with regards to and I hate to use trends from prior years and trying to apply them to games that are being played this season, but you look at the season that Boston had last year, an absolutely record-breaking season when they win the President's Trophy, and despite getting bounced in the first round, and the Penguins don't make the playoffs, don't have a great season. But every game they played last year was a competitive game, 6-5 OT game, and then a couple other 1-goal games. But the Bruins won all 3 of them. But I wish the Bruins were a higher price so I could take the plus 1.5 on the Penguins tonight and not have to lay a ton of vig in this one. But unfortunately, it's at like 145. I'm seeing on the WagerTalk live line. Circa has it at 141. on the Bruins. So if you like the Bruins guys out there, you're getting a good price on them, especially at home. And Brian mentioned those stats. That power play, Andrew. At some point, that power play is going to come together for this Pittsburgh team. But when you make changes during the offseason, you bring a guy like Carlson as well too. It's like you said, the chemistry might not be there, or they just get goal hungry, puck hungry. They want the puck, they want to shoot, they want to score, and pad those stats. But we'll see. We'll see tonight. Should be a fun game to watch, regardless. I know Mike Sullivan's a good coach, and he's going to get them to play better enough to spring the upset. We'll have to find out tonight.
We will see. Coaching is huge, especially off losses, especially off tough first periods there. Want to give a shout out to Grant, Dane, Freethinker, David, Jeffrey, so many great guys here in our live chat. We appreciate you as well, all the people that watch afterwards, guys. We don't ask too much, but we do need the likes, and we appreciate it here on Puck Time. We're the first show of the day, which means we should have the longest shelf life, which means we should have the most likes of the day on Puck Time. So show us some love, guys. We will appreciate it. And also comment below to let us know what you are betting on for tonight's NHL slate. Everyone's complaining on social media, on YouTube about that scheduling for the NHL. But guys, I don't, this isn't anything new. It's not like, I mean, I complain about stuff all the time. That's not anything new. Like the weather where I live. But, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, you got to expect it. Wednesdays, there's 2 games, and then we got about, 10 games on Thursday. That's just how the NHL operates. And, you've got a night off one night, and usually I kind of use Wednesday to start diving into my Thursday, as I'm sure you guys do as well. And speaking of which, we'll keep things going with a big game in the Western Conference. Brian, we'll send it over to you for your thoughts on Dallas and Colorado.
Yeah, big game. 2 teams that are basically underperformed in my mind so far this year. But yeah, it should be a really good one. They played once before. Colorado was in Dallas, and they won that game 6-3. Looking at the past 10 games, 5-on-5 play, the Avalanche have a 55.56 goal percentage, 52.99 expected. They outscored the opposition 5-on-5, 20-16. But 6 of those 10 games were played at home. Dallas, on the other hand, goal for percentage, 55.32. Expected goal percentage, 57.23. They outscored the opposition 26-21, and 7 of their last 10 have been played at home. Normally, when I would take a look at a game with this kind of importance, I would look to play an under. The only problem is, I don't think Dallas is an under team this year. At least they haven't been an under team. They're more willing to open it up, and if Colorado is playing somebody that's willing to open it up, they're willing to do the same thing, which is one of the reasons why they scored 9 goals the first time they played. Like both these teams, but I think the best way to play this, and if you like to play late, a little bit of juice, I think this is the way to do it, is you can get Colorado's team total over 2.5 at -170. You can also get the 3.5 and get the better payoff. But I think Colorado scored some goals in this one. They had no problem doing it in the first game. Dallas's defense just hasn't been the same this year. And this game, the total 6.5 kind of surprised me that it was 6.5. I was expecting a 6, and then I gave it a better look and realized that, yes, this is a situation where Dallas has given up, or actually scored in the last 10 games, 47 goals in 5-on-5 play. So if it gets anywhere near that, you only need a couple special teams goals, and both of these teams are very good in that regard. So I will play the Colorado over 2.5 at -170 in this one.
Look at the team totals. I love hearing you jump into the team totals, Brian. It's great to just focus in on one team and expect some goals out of them, and they've been scoring. They certainly have been lighting the lamp. Carm, do you agree? Do you expect goals in this one?
Andrew, I got a bone to pick with this Dallas team. So last week, I have a big play on Dallas on the puck line against Chicago. It ticks off every single box that I need in order to make it one of my top plays. And they're up 4-2 in the third period, and then collapse at the end, take a penalty. It just it ends up going to overtime. So what do they do the next 2 nights later? They play the exact same Chicago team in Dallas, same goalies, and they beat them 8-1. 8-1. But the night that I have them, it finishes 5-4 in OT. So I got a bone to pick with them. But I think Brian's on the right track with this. I really like the over in this game as well too, because you look at it. Can you believe that the Dallas Stars have gone over the total 10 straight times at home, and they've played 19 games at home this season, and they are 15-4 to the over at home. So if you have just taken the approach of let me just bet every single Dallas over, you've been cashing tickets, taking vacations, eating at the finer restaurants. With that said, Andrew, it's not going to finish 2-1 tonight. Let's hope. I think this is an over game. I think Brian's right. You're looking at the team totals as well too. Over 6.5 for me in this game, and I'll discuss it again at the end of the show. But definite over 6.5 for this one. Let's look for that trend in streaks in Dallas games to continue at home.
Well, you know what's about to happen, guys. You know what is about to happen because I agree.
1-0 in OT.
I'm with you. So everybody go in and slam the under. No, well, I mean, look, the thing is, it's whenever I've been taking full game overs, as you guys know, I've been a big team totals guy lately. You just need to have, it takes two to tango. Like whenever you see somebody complaining about how they lost an over, it's always one team that contributed and the other team didn't do their part, right? I can't believe, one team got 5 goals, but the other team only got 1 and I lost my over. You see stuff like that all the time. But the good news about a matchup like this is that both teams will contribute. Totals, when you bet the over, it takes 2, right? It takes both teams. And not often will you get one team scoring 6 or 7 and they can just take care of it for you. When you look at these teams, they're both top 10 and shooting percentage on goal categories. And when I look at really what they're able to do line by line, they really just create chances. They don't really have a shutdown line, so to speak. They've got all kinds of guys that can score for them. Have to give a shout out to my fellow Nova Scotian, Nathan McKinnon, first star of the month in the NHL. He's on a roll right now. Mikko Rantanen, some of those guys. But the guys in the secondary, guys down the depth chart, or guys you don't really talk about as much, Jonathan Drouin has a point in 10 straight games. Ryan Johansson finally starting to play well for the Avalanche. And some of these guys, on the third and fourth line for Dallas as well, starting to contribute a little bit to the scoring. And when you look at both these teams as well, when you mention totals, you also want offense from your defensemen. And when I look across both, you've obviously got Heiskanen on one side, you've got Makar on the other side, but there's also a bunch of other offensive defensemen that help you jump into the rush. So Carm talked about checking boxes for a play. I mean, this one really checks off a lot of boxes here. And just with the pace that these teams play in, I can't really see a lockdown defensive game. And especially Dallas has really not gone down to earth and been that old under team they used to be. They have been playing in some higher scoring games. And, it seems like from the drop of the puck, sometimes they're going to trade goals with their opponents. So, hey, guys, whether it's a good or bad thing, we have a clean sweep on this game. The three of us like the over in this game. Let's get some goals. We want to get Brian his 4 from Colorado. So we wouldn't mind a 4-4 going into overtime game for entertainment purposes, but let's get some goals in this game, guys. I wouldn't mind that one bit. Some good games though tonight. And I want to remind everybody out there, if you're watching for the first time or you have been watching for quite some time now, if you are new to WagerTalk, you sign up for an account, you can take 15% off anything for your first purchase. So you sign up at wagertalk.com, make an account, And if you want to buy Brian's plays, Carmine's plays, or myself, 15% off is what you will get with a package, daily package, long-term, whatever it may be. So, guys, if you're interested, great day to check it out. So many NHL games going on here. And Carm, we're going to end things off with a really, really good one. This is the Stanley Cup final rematch, the Panthers and Golden Knights. What do you think in this one?
Listen, I wanted to release this. I was thinking of releasing this last night as a client play, but then I wanted to wait till the morning and look at the games with fresh eyes. And I kind of wish I did because I missed the market move on it. You could have got Vegas yesterday. Sorry, you could have got the Florida Panthers last night at plus 110, and now they are minus 120. It's I've lost any value whatsoever on this game. Listen, we know these two played in the Stanley Cup Finals last year. I think by the time the Florida Panthers got to the Stanley Cup Finals, they were so beaten up and so many injuries, and you could see it on the ice. We knew that once that the Stanley Cup playoffs were over, that we were going to see the reports of this guy playing with this injury and this guy playing with that injury, and that's what we saw with them. But give them credit. They've that first game against Vegas in Florida, they win the game 4-2, and that game was chippy for the most part. And I think it was Florida just trying to be physical. There were 54 minutes in penalties at the end of the game. As that game ended, a bunch of 10-minute misconducts, unsportsmanlike conduct, and of course, who's in there? Tkachuk and Pietrangelo as well too. I like Florida in this spot. I have to believe that they started off their road trip the Knights aren't playing as well as they can, dropping I think 4 of their last 5 if you look at it. But in that, they had that one win against the Kings, which was the second of a back-to-back. But then they get shut out in the Winter Classic against the Seattle Kraken. I just think it's a short-term slump for Vegas. They're going to get out of it. They need to get Aiden Hill back in there, Shea Theodore. They need to get their players back on D. Carlson's out as well too. When you got players out of the lineup, it's an unbalanced lineup. The guys just don't gel together as they normally do. This is a great spot, I think, to take the Panthers, but I believe I missed the value on them right now. Why play them at 120 when you could have had them at plus 110? It's just, it might not sound like much, but long term, if you're giving up 30 cents of value, you're gonna kill your bankroll. So I still like Florida tonight, and I'll send it to Brian, who has his finger on the pulse of what is going on in Vegas right now. You're muted. Brian, you're muted.
Well, Brian is telling us that he loves goals in this game.
I think he just declared
what do you like
his love
in this game?
for the Prez. During that whole thing, he declared his love for Prez. But anyways.
Yeah, my cat was starting to get excited, so I had to mute. Yeah, whatever you said, Carmine, I doubled down on it. It's exactly the same way I felt coming into it. I says, well, I got to play for, and then the line moved so quick, I couldn't get it to clients, and now we've got a road favorite in Florida here against Vegas, in a real important game for Vegas because, as you mentioned, they've been playing terribly. Their goaltending's been bad. The defense has been bad around the goaltender. They're not even protecting the goal. And that's not what Vegas does. Vegas wins when they play good defense and they win a 4-2 game. They are not a team, although they have been in the past, that they can score some goals. They're a team who wins with defense. And we saw it all the way through the playoffs last year. We saw it in the first game that these two played earlier in Florida. Vegas has got to play defense to win. And right now, with the injuries they have, Theodore out, he's known more of an offensive defenseman, but he's been out for a while. You mentioned Carlson, one of our key forwards, will be out for the next couple of games. Lower body injury, they're talking. So, and the goalies right now, without Aiden Hill, they've been really struggling. And you got to take a look at Florida. Problem is, we've lost the value in it. So I will be cheering on my Golden Knights, sitting the sidelines here. But if you bet Florida, I think that's the right side. I just can't do it. As you mentioned, after losing that good number, we've lost a little bit of value. And that's how you make money in betting the NHL, is betting good numbers and realizing when a game has passed you by. Who knows? Maybe there'll be some late money coming in on Vegas here, and we'll be able to play Florida lately, and that's what I'm hoping for. But at this point, just a lean with Florida.
All right. Two thoughts there towards the Florida Panthers. Not really the price that you guys want, but who knows, as the markets move around throughout the day, you can get that good number that you're looking for. And a great point that Carm mentioned about the injury situation. Look, I think that Vegas deserved to win the cup. They were the better team, but there was a lot of injuries there for the Florida Panthers last year. It was a shame. You know, it's how playoffs work. It happens in all sports as well, not just hockey. You hear about injuries through the playoffs. Sometimes it's not even about the team that's playing the best. It's about the team that's the healthiest and playing the best, because you need to go in there with a healthy roster. Only player Florida will be missing tonight is Nick Cousins. He is downgraded to doubtful. Carm, you got something to add? I just saw you. Was it about what Brian said?
No, it actually wasn't about this game. Just because he dropped a message in our production group, and I don't want to finish the show and then completely forget to mention it. But Don Buster, our regular guest on Tuesdays, has a 5% play up at WagerTalk tonight. Buster's having a very good NHL season, so if you want to pick up that play, head over to WagerTalk and his page, and you'll find his NHL top play for tonight. Just wanted to mention that. Buster's a good guy, and I didn't want to miss out on mentioning that play, Andrew.
Definitely, yeah. Best of luck to Buster on that. Lots of games to choose from, and he's found one that he loves for tonight. Guys, I like the over in this game. I'll just keep it short and simple. I like that factor, of course, for Florida, not forgetting about what happened last year. They are playing some good hockey themselves. I have seen them right now just capitalizing on their chances more. They're playing Florida hockey. They're looking like the team we saw last year. For Hagee, Barkov's playing super well. Carm talked about Reinhart props during the season. Man, that guy shoots a lot. I like what we're seeing there from the Florida Panthers. And Brian talked about the goaltending for Vegas. But to me, you can't really blame the goaltending, and as much as you can blame the lack of offense. But I do think that in this time, we will see Vegas get up a little bit for this one. They got embarrassed in that Winter Classic. We always talk about games that the teams get up for. You have to be there in the moment and ready to play a big game in the Winter Classic. It's the only game on that day. It's January 1st, New Year's Day, and they get shut out to the Seattle Kraken. I'm sorry. I mean, Seattle is a decent team, but their defense is nothing to write home about. And the fact that Vegas got 0 goals there against them, the over has hit a lot more for Vegas at home this year versus on the road. Whether that's been them doing the scoring or their opponent, I'm confident tonight we should see some goals. And, sometimes when you see a team have a tough outing, you want them to bounce back defensively. I just don't know if Vegas can do that. And especially with their goaltending scenario right now they're going through, I like goals in this one. So when you got a Stanley Cup rematch, can go one of two ways. We can see chaos and we can see a goal fest, or you can see a shutdown game. But in this one, I'm looking for these teams to trade goals all night long. And the funny thing is, the storyline here is the defending Stanley Cup champs not playing so well, winners of just 2 in their last 8, and Florida entering this one red hot. So is it a good thing or a bad thing that Florida's entering this one red hot? Because you almost don't want them feeling too comfortable going into this big game. But I like goals here tonight. I think both teams can get together and put a bunch of goals on the board. And we're getting 6. Make sure you get that 6 in case it moves to 6.5. I like this one at 6, and try and get that best number that you can while it's still available. Let's jump into best bets, guys. But Brian, there's all kinds of stuff going on today. Obviously, college football is down to just 1 game, and I saw you had that great winning percentage this year in college football. We got NBA, college basketball, Obviously a huge NHL slate. What do you have going today for clients?
Yeah, you mentioned it. Number 2 on the season in win percentage in college football. Been on a really nice run. I normally don't do very well in bowls, and I went 3-1 this year. So looking forward to next season since we only got the one game left. But hockey, we all know what I've done the last 7 years. A lot of success in that regard. College basketball also, once again, doing very well. Today I've got 2 plays up so far. This is very early in the morning. I'm sure I'll add some more plays later on. But 2 plays up, including a 4% play in hockey and 2 plays up in college basketball. And it's a pretty good slate on the hardwood, so we may add a couple more there. So that's what we've gone on today. For my best bet, I will kind of disagree with you, Andrew. You talked about Seattle, and you didn't think they were a very good defensive team. This may surprise you. I'm going to take a look at this Ottawa-Seattle game. Seattle, over the last 10 games, goal percentage is 75%. Expected goal percentage, 53.10. And obviously, they're due for some negative regression in that regard, but they've outscored the opposition on 5-on-5 play 21-7. So they've dominated at 75% goals, but yet they've only scored 21 goals in 5-on-5 play. The key number here is the 7 that they've allowed. 7 goals on 5-on-5 play the last 10 games. The next best, the Winnipeg Jets. We all know how good they've been defensively as of late. They've allowed 10 goals. So when you take a look at Seattle, they've been very good for a longer period of time. They have permitted more than 3 goals just once over the last 10 games, and they haven't allowed more than 4 goals since November 24th. Ottawa's a team that's known for their offense. I don't think they're going to have that kind of success against Seattle. When teams like Seattle are winning in a certain way, and if you go back the last month, they've been winning with defense. They're not going to change anything. They're going to continue to try to play strong defense. I like the under here. Under 6.5, Ottawa and Seattle will be my best bet on the show today. And even though it's a huge card today, I didn't have a lot that I really liked, unfortunately. So that's my best bet of today. And tomorrow, maybe we get some better plays.
Great stuff, Brian. Best of luck to you tonight. And I guess I was more so just ripping on Vegas than I was trying to rip on Seattle as far as them getting shut out in that one. So great information there. Under Ottawa and Seattle. Carm, what do you have going tonight, man?
Should be happy that I did not include the marquee game of the day on today's show, which is the 2 free spaces on the bingo card. The Buffalo Sabres playing the Montreal Canadiens. I don't think anybody wants to hear about that game. But Jesper brought our show best bets yesterday. He gets 4 shots on goal. It goes over his total. Let's see if we can make it 3 for 3. I am going to go with the game we discussed, the Colorado and Dallas game, over the total of 6.5. It's hard to overlook the fact that Dallas is on a 10-0 run on home overs, 15-4 for the season at home. That's a 10.65 units gained, 49.42 ROI if you're betting the Dallas Stars overs at home. That's a great ROI for even a 19 game sampling thus far. We'll see if they can continue, and hopefully they do tonight and make it 16-4. So that's going to be the show best bets. I have 4 plays up in the NHL right now, including 1 best bet as well too, and a great promo going on. Number 1 in NFL, I've mentioned it before. NFL and NHL, every single play right through to the Super Bowl, all in one package, and you can find that over on my page at WagerTalk. Guys, hit that like button. I see that number going up. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and all the comments that you leave for us here during the live chat and afterwards.
Carm, we are a combined 6-0 this week on our PuckTime best bets. So let's try and keep that going, man. And Brian as well, we'll try and get a clean sweep for us tonight. As for what I have going with clients, 5% play tonight. I did find one play I really do like in the NHL. It is a team total. As you guys know, I've been liking those wagers quite a bit. And since the end of November, we're up 24 units on all total plays. So full game, unders or overs or team totals. We're doing really well with the totals in general. So don't miss that 5% play for me tonight. And my best bet for the show, well, guys, I want to continue to fade this Minnesota Wild team. Pretty much going to bet against them or bet the unders for the time being. They are missing $16 million in cap space right now with top players missing. I mean, you throw in Kaprizov, and that's good enough as its own. But then you've got Zuccarello, Brodin, you've got Foligno even is a nice part of the team. Then you talk about the goaltending. There's a lot going wrong for the Wild right now, and I describe them as a top-heavy team. You know, Kaprizov is so important that they're one of those teams, this Wild team, that if they're missing even a few guys, they are a whole different team out there. And you have the Tampa Bay Lightning entering this game off a tough loss against the Winnipeg Jets. The price is pretty friendly here, I believe, at minus 130. And overall, Carmine's mentioned this before, and I agree with him. The Marc-Andre Fleury, he still has it in him, but I don't think that the workload he's going to get for the next little while is good for him. I don't think he can handle it. Getting up there in age, guys, and I feel like Tampa Bay, Vasilevsky versus Fleury, I'll take Vasilevsky, all days that end in Y, I would say. So we'll cash that ticket tonight, hopefully, guys, on the Tampa Bay Lightning, but don't forget to join me on my 5% play as well over at WagerTalk.com. That will do it for Puck Time today here on this Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, here, and thanks to Brian, thanks to Carmine, my co-host every day, and thanks to all of you guys. We'll see